Myall Iliji, Borongomoroyo, Borongomoroyo. We meet here today in the land of the Gamilaroi people, the Gamilaroi nation, the land of the Wiriyara. We pay respect to elders past and present and those emerging. We also think and memorialise the sad but shared truth of our ancient history of Australia, the death of the Wiriyara people, 10th of June 1838. Myall Iliji, Borongomoroyo, Borongomoroyo. Remember them.
Hello, my name is John Colton. I'm the Mayor of the Guada Shire, and it is with pleasure that I welcome you to this virtual ceremony of the Myall Creek Memorial. I'm sure Ivan will elaborate on the future development of the site. It's quite exciting, and there's been some grant funding made available. I welcome you to our Shire, to the virtual service, and I really look forward to catching up with you next year on the June long weekend to do all this again. Thank you.
Yaman Yindai. My name is Keith Munro, and I'm a proud Gomeroi man from this country. I'd firstly like to take this opportunity to thank my grandfather for his guidance, immense knowledge and support. As a direct descendant of the victims and survivors of this massacre that took place at Myall Creek on the 10th of June 1838, I am in awe of our old people's resilience, strength and courage, qualities my grandfather possessed and shared throughout his life. Our old people have lived through the dispossession of our country, oppressive adversity and all the ongoing hardships that have enabled me to be here today and share these words and to honour their legacy. I'm eternally grateful their stories have been passed down. There's these broad shoulders that my family and I proudly stand on today, with over 50,000 years of continuous connection to country. I would also like to acknowledge my co-chairperson Ivan Roberts, the current board and local Myall Creek Friends groups for their collective tireless work. As a committee, the work we do is a continuation of the meeting that was facilitated by Auntie Sue Blacklock and Reverend John Brown in 1998, and the committee members throughout that time, who along with many people before them, dedicated themselves to the creation of a memorial to mark this violent, unprovoked massacre. We believe in the importance of truth-telling in our collective history. In 2020, our annual gathering has been disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. This has greatly impacted on the committee presenting a program to the hundreds of travelling Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal visitors who attend the memorial each year, and resulted in our annual gathering taking place online. As a result, I hope more people will be able to virtually attend the event, grow their understanding of the Myall Creek Massacre and Memorial, and start a mature, respectful conversation about truth-telling with family, colleagues and friends. Our collective history over the last 250 years is deserving of this. Finally, I thank participants who have contributed to this year's program, everyone who has supported the work of the memorial over the last 20 years, from volunteers, community groups, dancers, including the Tinga dancers and Gomeroi dancers, international, interstate and local visitors who have attended the memorial or have quietly and respectfully visited at other times. I would also like to thank the Guada Shire Council and New South Wales Government through Create New South Wales, their arts and culture policy and development body, for the support of the Myall Creek Memorial. We remember them. Hello.
Along with my colleague Keith Munro, co-chairperson, I wish to thank you for joining us on this, the 20th anniversary of the Myall Creek Memorial. It was back in 1998 that Auntie Sue Blacklock and the Reverend John Brown convened a uniting church meeting at Myall Creek to honour the 28 Wiriyara people who were brutally murdered on the 10th of June 1838. A pleasing feature of this gathering was that many local people attended, both Aboriginal and non-Indigenous, and so it was that before the weekend was over, the decision had been taken to erect a memorial to those who had died. And so it is since the year 2000, hundreds of people gather each year, including school communities, both from across the region and interstate, to honour those people who have died, to acknowledge the dark history of this place, and to recommit themselves to working for a more just and honest society. We also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge that we have received bipartisan support from all three levels of government. But on this 20th anniversary, especially to acknowledge the New South Wales government, who through a very generous grant of over $1 million through its Regional Cultural Fund, have enabled us to build a performance space or amphitheatre as well as other cultural features in the Myall Creek Memorial Precinct. It has also enabled us to improve the amenities at the memorial for visitors, both individual and group, who come to see the memorial. We also want to acknowledge Gwydir Shire Council, who from the outset has been very supportive, both in terms of maintaining the memorial, but also promoting the ideals of the Friends of Myall Creek Memorial. There are two stories at Myall Creek. One is well known, that of the massacre, a dark blot on Australia's history. But there is the second story, that of the memorial, and that story reflects what is possible when people work together, seeking healing and reconciliation. The Friends of Myall Creek Memorial believe that both these stories need to be acknowledged and told, but it is our hope that the latter story, that of the memorial, is the one which shapes the future of our nation. In a few minutes' time, you will be invited to share in our commemoration ceremony. And as you do, we encourage you to reflect on how you too may assist this process of acknowledging the history of our country, of facing the truth and recommitting ourselves to a more just and caring society, that all Australians may face the future with hope.
There are some things best forgotten. There are names we dare not speak. But in this land there's something rotten. We remember Myall Creek. 11 letters stockmen, you by greed, you by hate, rode on to Myall Creek Station, June the 10th, 1838. Tied together, led away, cut down in Myall Creek. Betty on a weary ride, cut down in Myall Creek. The Sydney Morning Herald scorned the money that this trial would waste. To hang a white for killing blacks was not to justice Darling's taste. Whenever men ride out again to crush the helpless and the weak, we learn from what went on before. We remember Myall Creek. They say we should move on with our lives. They say we should turn the other cheek. We must leave the past behind. Out on the mission stations, from valley flats to mountain peaks, around the coast, out in the bush. Yeah, we remember Myall Creek. Greedy men with sword or pen, we remember Myall Creek. Hear the pounding hooves that echo on the walls on Myall Creek. We remember Myall Creek. We remember lest we forget.
Gira Naramba, Wulaiba, Nale, Wiraragu, Gamilaregu.
From time immemorial, the Wirrarare tribe of the Gamilaray lived here, caring for the land and harvesting the animals, fish, root crops, grains and fruits in a seasonal cycle. The identity of the Wirraray derived from their spiritual relationship with the land.
Niani, Winingai, Gunninga. We remember them.
Yulambu Wandagu Daya Dimba Milambare Gani.
In the 1830s, European squatters began to send their servants into the district to establish cattle and sheep stations, occupying the land and using its grass and water resources to feed their stock.
Niani Winingay Ganunga.
We remember them.
Yila Mari Wanda Pumalalani Baluni Purala Mari Gulba Wanda.
Conflict soon arose as the Europeans forced the Wirrayare off their ancestral lands, drove them away from creeks and waterholes, and seized Aboriginal women. The Wirrayare retaliated by spearing stock and attacking the stations and their personnel. Revenge killings began.
Niyani Winingay Gananga. We remember them.
Burala Mari Ganjibalu Buruga Bumai.
Towards the end of 1837, parties of European stockmen and station hands,
encouraged by a punitive expedition of mounted police sent from Sydney,
embarked on a bloody rampage throughout the region, hunting down and killing any Aboriginal people they could find.
Hundreds of Aboriginal people were slain.
Nye Winage Gunama. We remember them.
Wire, Pamalalani Galbiri Mariwanda, Ganuga Malia, Guinea.
In May 1838, a band of Wirraway people took refuge from the onslaught on Myall Creek Station below at the invitation of one of the station hands.
For the next few weeks, they lived in peace around the station huts, and convivial relations were developed between them and the four-man staff.
Gingi Wingawe, Gangwa.
We remember them.
10 June 1838 Yaburala Wirrayare Yina Gay Wayama Bulanai Gir Dila Daliba Nama Mari. On the 10th of June 1838, a gang of stockmen led by a squatter rode into Myall Creek Station and brutally murdered about 28 unarmed women, children and old men. The younger Wirrayay men were away cutting bark on a neighbouring station. Niani, Winingay, Gunninga. We remember them.
Plaque number 7. Nama Gabriel Wanda, Gangamandu Bame, Ila Wanganu Bala, Mari Bubanani.
11 of the 12 men who carried out these massacres were arrested, tried and acquitted. In a second trial, 7 of them were found guilty and executed. The squatter involved was never brought to trial. This was the first time that white men had been executed for murdering Aboriginal people.
However, this did not stop the massacres. They continued throughout the continent, often unreported until the 1920s.
Nigani Wingane Gananga.
We remember them.
Niani Winagay Gununga.
In memory of the Wirraway people who were murdered on the slopes of this ridge in an unprovoked but premeditated act in the late afternoon of June 10, 1838, erected on the 10th of June 2000 by a group of Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Australians in an act of reconciliation and in acknowledgement of the truth of our shared history. We remember them.
We gather to remember. As we gather, may we give thanks for those good people who over the years have practiced kindness and generosity and worked for understanding and justice between our peoples. May their example give us a shared vision of the kind of community that we could build together, a vision that unites us in our journey towards reconciliation, heals our wounds, and gives courage and determination for the work that lies ahead of us.
Today, as we gather, we recall again the massacre of Aboriginal people that was perpetrated at Myall Creek on the 10th of June 1838. We acknowledge that we are all heirs in different ways to this history of injustice. We are grateful that the Parliament of our nation has apologised for past mistreatment suffered by so many. But we acknowledge that we still have a long way to go in building a society where people have comparable opportunities to develop their own potential. So then today, may we commit ourselves anew to the hard work of reconciliation between our peoples, so that our children and grandchildren may have equal opportunities and a better tomorrow.
This candle reminds us of the blood that was shed on the slopes below, needlessly, brutally, wrongly, on the 10th of June 1838. Ni Winangai Gunangu. We remember them. We also honour those who died all over the country defending their land, speaking the truth and the courage that they showed through such history. We know violence and pain has continued over 200 years. The land was taken without negotiation or payment. Laws and cultures and languages were destroyed. Families were broken and many children were taken from their families.
This destructive legacy continues to affect people we care about. It causes confusion, fear, violence and anger.
We realise that racism and prejudice still exist today through a refusal of those in authority to listen to First Nation people, a one-sided blaming of First Nation people themselves for the problems that face contemporary Indigenous Australians today, and a history of a nation still told largely from the perspective of non-Indigenous people.
So that words might become action, we invite you to join with us in a struggle for a fairer and more just society for all Australians, irrespective of race.
Yama. My name's Marilyn Isaacs. I'm from the Myall Creek Committee. I've been on it for a number of years. I joined Myall Creek because it was the first place in Australian history that even acknowledged that Aboriginal people were murdered. And justice was served in that one. We've got to remember that there is thousands and thousands of Aboriginal people that were killed in this country or murdered, and we're still waiting for justice for them. too. I'd say the committee, the Myall Creek Committee, it's an honour to even work with them. And I just hope that in the future we all still walk on the Ochre path.
Friends, every year I look forward to catching up with you all at the gathering, and I'm sorry that this year it's not going to be happening. I've been visiting that site every year for probably 30 years, and I've gone out on my own at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and sat and had a quiet moment to myself. So since we can't be there, spend some time thinking about what happened there on those slopes in June 1838 and why we're all meeting every year. Seeing the Stage 2 works underway is really impressive, and when we first met at the hall in 1998, that was like just getting the memorial up was what we wanted, and this is absolutely huge. So thanks and congratulations to the current committee, doing a great job. The three things when we first met, the three things that we were aiming for are truth, justice and reconciliation. I think after 20 years we've come a little way, but I think we still have a long way to go. So keep working, folks. See you all next year.
Yarman Yinde. Hello everybody. It's a pity we can't gather at Myall Creek this year to commemorate what I see as the first act of reconciliation of when the property owners had these men charged for their horrific deeds they committed. I first became involved with the Myall Creek Committee while serving my 2 terms as a councillor with the Myall Shire Council. I would like to also thank all the schools and the school children for their participation. Hello.
In Australia there were 2 great evils, the massacres and the denial of the massacres, and shedding the blood of the only people who could welcome us here. We could never belong. Myall Creek shows the way forward. In 2000, Uncle Lyle Munro and Auntie Sue Blacklock embraced the descendants of those who had murdered their people. I saw that in that embrace we are all embraced, reconnecting relationship to Aboriginal people and also to the land itself. But never let us forget that that loving embrace cost. It cost the Aboriginal people 60,000 years of dreaming, 220 years of nightmares. The only cost to us is confronting our pride, which refuses to accept that embrace and refuses to say what I now say, which is sorry, sorry, sorry. Path to our country's future passes through the past. There is no other way. It is the path to our greatness as a nation, charting our place in the world with compassion and integrity.
We have lit a candle of hope, healing and new life. For we have gathered today to honour both perspectives on our history and to renew our commitment to tell the truth to our children and grandchildren. We give our thanks for the example of those people at the time of the massacre who stood out from the crowd. From the lowly hut keeper to those in high office who spoke the truth and saw some justice done. We celebrate the steps we have been able to take towards a more just and respectful life together in this land. We celebrate community which has been built around this memorial. We are grateful for all the good work done over the last few years by Aboriginal and all Australians working together to tell the true history of our life together in this land. For the acts of personal reconciliation that have been achieved. For apologies made and accepted. For forgiveness offered and people included who were previously isolated.
Our commitment to the future.
We will continue our journey, searching our own hearts and reflecting on our own attitudes, which alienate us from one another. Together we will work for a future in which we are all able to contribute our gifts to this nation. We will work to end the injustice and prejudice which continue to sideline Aboriginal people. We will learn and teach the paths of justice, respect and reconciliation so that we may walk together down this road. We will work till a person's lot is no longer determined by their ancestry or skin colour, and young people no longer bear a grudge against the society because it treats their history and culture unfairly. We will work till the history of 60,000 years is honoured together with the history of the last 2 centuries, till the honourable parts are celebrated with pride and the dishonourable parts are acknowledged with shame.
May you always stand as tall as a tree, be as strong as the rock Uluru, as gentle and still as the morning mist. Hold the warmth of the campfire in your heart, and may the Creator Spirit always walk with you.
A descendant of the murderers, a descendant of the slain. They met at Myall Creek, and sisters they became. Just goes to show what you can do when you forgive what's been done. Turn darkness into light, fear into love. You gotta let go of all that hatred if you know what's good for you. You gotta own up to the truth, no matter how it proves. This beautiful land don't want no bad thing in it. Break open all the silence, fill it up with tears. Join up all your hands, 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 join up all your hands. Spread out on the land, and no more weep from Myall Creek. Make joy from sorrow, love from pain. There are many other places still to go, where them killing times have left their bitter bones, where haunting sadness lingers, poison in our towns. Smoke each place for peace, consecrate the ground. Join up all your hands, 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 join up all your hands.
spread out on the land, and no more weep from Myall Creek. Make joy from sorrow, love from pain. Join up all your hands, 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 spread out on the land.